For weeks, the sun was weak, the snow was deep, and the darkness almost never ended. Yet inside these lodges, Lakota people created light, warmth, and community. For long stretches, day looked almost no different from night. The land slept under ice and snow, and life retreated into the lodges. Here, every evening began with gathering around a carefully controlled fire.
Too much fire wasted wood and filled the lodge with smoke. Too little and the cold would creep in. So they loaded the ground itself with heat for the long, dark hours.
They turned the frozen earth into a quiet, hidden heater. Layers below their bodies mattered as much as robes above.
Even where they slept was carefully planned to protect the weakest.
Short, gray days were for bringing in what they needed to survive the long night.
Most work shifted inside, turning lodges into warm workshops.
Winter was when they strengthened the things that protected them.
Even play was kept close and calm, fitting the tight space and conserving energy.
The world outside the circle felt endless and empty.
The world inside the circle was full of words, memory, and meaning. He carried past winters in his voice, so the young would know what to expect. Stories turned fear and boredom into lessons.
They drew winters on the ground to show how their people survived them. Another wave of wind and snow rolled over the camp. Meals were simple but warming, a chance to gather and feel life moving inside them. Fat in their pots helped their bodies hold heat when the days had no strength. Eating together fed more than just stomachs. It fed their sense of belonging. Even in deep winter, they looked ahead, turning today's hunt into food for later storms. The air carried both warmth and preservation. The world outside was almost nothing but snow and wind, and a tiny circle of Lakota lodges holding out against it.
Music stitched long nights into something they could endure.
The drum's pulse reminded them their hearts were still strong.
They fell asleep with voices and rhythm.
Every lodge held its own small universe of warmth and spirit.
Then came the kind of storm that would test every lodge, every fire, and every spirit in the village.
The elders named the challenge clearly so no one would be surprised.
They showed how to pace food, firewood, and strength across many gray dawns.
They balanced hard truth with promises of shared moments.
Weeks of snow and half-light rolled together. Life shifted inward without giving up its rhythm. Some days, outside the lodges, there was almost no world left to see. so they shrank their world to the space they could warm.
They gave the storm a name and a shape, making it something they could face together.
Fear inside the lodge was guided and contained, not allowed to explode.
The story's answer mirrored their own. Resist the dark with connection.
Rituals gave shape to days that might have otherwise felt endless.
They used simple elements: fire, smoke, song.
From the sky, the village looked almost buried. Inside, it still pulsed with life.
Then, slowly, the sky remembered how to ease its grip.
They answered the change with gratitude, not celebration.
They answered the easing of the storm not with shouting, but with a quiet song of thanks for having endured together.
Their circle of lodges had survived weeks when the world seemed made only of snow and shadow. When the clouds finally thinned, the same little cluster of Lakota lodges still stood, holding their place in the frozen world.
They did not just endure. They studied what endurance had taught them.
They gathered as a single community to ask what the long weeks of snow and darkness had taught them.
When it was safe, they loosened the reins just enough to taste relief.
Play turned lessons about winter into something they could feel with their bodies, not just hear with their ears. The land seemed to exhale after the long storm, and the Lakota village still breathed at its center. He reminded them to respect winter, to trust their knowledge, and to remember that they had faced the darkness together and endured.
Habits built in darkness would serve them in lighter days, too.
Their community remained the heartbeat of their survival.
Each lodge carried the same pattern: warmth, work, story, song. They reconnected the stories in their lodges to the sky above them.
The darkness was still there, but now it felt like a blanket they understood, not a threat they feared. Weeks of snow and dim light had not broken them. They had bent with it and stayed whole. That is how Native Americans lived through weeks of snow and darkness, by filling the long winter with warmth